Oh, yep, here we go again. And you know what this means? Okay. You know what venture capitalist means, and you know what that means is coming. Yep. We're going to be talking about what stuff that a lot of people don't want to really talk about or really think about. Alright? Now, what the heck does this mean? Get me. How do you get back to? I want to get back to the normal one. What the? Active Ventures. Go away. There. That was weird. Alright. There we go. Is this going? Yes, that's going. There. Alright. There, the cameras. Alright, so if you looked at the title of today's video, then you can pretty much have a pretty good idea of what's coming, okay? There, speed that up, speed that up, speed that up, speed that up. Alright. So I'm going to you stay up there. Alright. We're going to be you stay up there. Alright. This is what I'm going to be talking about, okay? You're probably wondering, this is frozen. Supposed to be display capture. Alright. There. I think I fixed it now. So we're gonna have a little look here so that way hopefully you get a kind of a big picture here, because what this has to do is people pushing. I've been hearing about this quite a bit, all right, various companies, and why I'll explain to you why this DEI, as a Ripper calls it, DIE, all right, diversity, inclusion, equity. Why he puts equity last, okay? And the general concept of what this is a farce, all right? Now, I want to show you where the real problem is, why everything's getting more expensive, and if you actually been looking at a certain thing and comparing it to a certain other thing, and why a certain piece of information is behind multi-$100 paywalls. Okay? All right? All right. I'm not even going to bore you with reading all this is on paper, because this, if you actually listen to the people that actually pushes this crud, they're not talking about financial inclusion, okay? And why prices keep going up, and where it's really coming from. I want to be showing you something in a minute, all right? And when you take this piece of information, you split it up in a year, you're going to realize something. Why all of this is a facade. Why people that talks about this, if you look at their eyes, they go kind of blank, like, and they just start getting very moving and stuff like that, and start saying how diversity, inclusion. All right, I'm not going to bore you with really who's behind this, okay? And those companies' net worth, it's suffice it to say, they're taking your money and pushing this nonsense down your throat, okay? Diversity, equity, and inclusion. It's a distraction. Just like every other right, it's a distraction. Every news media is not talking about the real problem. I want to show you what the real problem is, okay? And I got a clip here from the Jim Henson's Dinosaurs that outright ties all of this together, okay? Now, we're going to go to new car sales, units sold, and why automation is getting more bigger, more massive, and a huge push. And why it's always been getting pushed hard, and why automotive industry and fast food, especially McDonald's, is huge backers in automation, okay? Just try to follow along with here, okay? 1978, here is the complete timeline of the best-selling car model. This is certain models, certain makes, every year since 1978 in the United States, okay? We're starting at 1978, Oldsmobile Cutlass, 520,000 units sold, okay? 1979, 518,000. You notice these are going, you notice the slight drop there, okay? 1980, 469,000 units sold. 1981, 454,000 units sold, okay? Ford Escort, 1982, 337,000. 83, Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme, 331K sold. Okay, you see here? You see the site up, right? But just wait, you're going to see a crater. 84, 383,000 units sold. Okay, you notice here? Okay, it's staying up there, okay? 85, 422,000 sold. 408,000 units sold. 86, Chevrolet. 87, you got the Ford Escort. 392,000 units sold. Sorry, it's a little tongue tied there. 88 Escort. 381K sold. 89 Honda Accord. All right, okay. We're gonna just skip here, okay, a little bit. You kind of just look at these yourselves, okay. All right. Now we're going to get here to the Japanese market, kind of warming the industry. 1997, you got 397,000. Okay, 29,000. Okay. Okay. You see here? It's going up, right? Okay, 2008, 436,000 units sold. All right. 2009, we got the Camry. All right, you see here. 2015, 429K. Okay. Toyota Camry, 2016, 388,000. 387,000 here. See what's happening? It's going down. 2018, 343,000. And then bam, 2020, the top selling car, 294,348. All right. So, 348,000 units sold. Okay. Now we go back up here. 1978, 520,279,000 units sold. You get the picture here, okay? The automotive industry in 2020 had massive drop off and actually is still in decline. Used car sales has actually started outweighing at one point after 2020 new car sales, and it's still that way. And the gap is actually growing bigger. You can actually see that in a lot of new car lots. All right, they're getting emptier and emptier, especially at Fords. Okay, now what happened? Okay, what happened to cause the new car sales market to fall off a cliff? This happened. All right, why don't you go down here? Look at this. $355 billion, $399 billion, $463 billion. This is the federal government's tax revenue. This is what it's taking from the population. $517 billion, $599 billion, $617 billion, $600 billion, $666 billion. If you notice that when the taxes ease, the economy starts to recover. $666 billion, $734 billion, $769 billion, $854. Look at this increase. And now 1990, all right? 1.3 trillion, 1.6 trillion, 1.09 trillion, 1.15 trillion, all right? I wanted to jump up to your toe. Look at that, 2.03 trillion. Right around on the new car sales, when new car sales fell off a cliff. Federal tax revenue more than started to double. 2001, 1.99 trillion, 1.85 trillion. Look at this, look at this. Look at this, 2.03 trillion. 2.15 trillion, look at that. Look at that. More than double. 2.41 trillion. You see, look at this. Look at this federal tax revenue. Every time the economy takes a major blow, look at this. Federal tax revenue will pretty near doubles. 2021. 4.05 trillion. We're going to take this number here. And the United States population. Number right here. Okay? We're going to take these two numbers. 4.05 trillion. And this population right here. Look at this. 100,000 million. Okay? It's a no-brainer. Which of these is bigger? 4.05 trillion or 100,000 million? Which is bigger? We're going to have Google take and divide 4.05 trillion and this exact number here and divide up the entirely. Have fun reading that. If you take that tax and you evenly distributed it to every man, woman, and child in the United States, you get this. You get that right there. Okay, this is just your federal taxes I'm talking about here. If you divided just that up to the entire population on the United States, you get that. That's before you take into account your local taxes. Your city-state tax. This is before you even take that into account. You get that. In fact, I'm gonna have my wife, sweetie, wife, baby. Oh, I want you to read that number aloud, please. I just want you to read it. That number right there aloud. That highlighted in blue. Can you read? 120. 12,000.
No, that's not 12.
Yeah.
That's 12 million. 17.
That's if you divide the federal taxes evenly.
That's the millions.
That's a point. So you know that's a point between the 7 and the 8. That's a period.
I'm sure you can see it.
Yeah. That's a period. All right.
Looks like
That's 12,017 point with the the 8888858 is a remainder.
oh, okay.
That's 12,017
4.05 trillion.
divided by
Yeah, okay.
yeah, that's 12,017
Yeah.
with the remainder of 8888858.
I don't have glasses.
Yeah. That's what it is. You get 12,000. You get over $12,000. That's what you get. Over $12,000. That's if you divided it evenly to the entire population. Now keep this in mind. Those federal taxes are not exactly collected at sales. A lot of them is commercial, property, and real estate. You cannot take $4.05 trillion out of the general population economy and then selectively distribute it. Where you decide to. You literally tax your economy to death. That's what you do. If it was divided evenly, it would be $12,000. Technically, you might as well say $12,018 before you start arguing over pennies, nickels, and dimes. This is before your state and local taxes. Okay? Alright? This is before you start arguing over state and local taxes. Alright? I want that to sink in. Alright? You get this. If you divide it evenly. Now, you better dang well believe these taxes are not evenly distributed. Okay? BP Richfield said it best during this scene.
Then why don't you step into my office?
When
You can be part of my
Earl Sinclair got his settlement lawsuit. When this happened.
due to our recent multi-million-dollar setback.
$88 million taken from We Say So Corporation. Dinosaurs made it abundantly clear. We Say So, bread and other sectors, construction, removing trees, buildings.
You aren't being shrunk, you're being fired. Everybody's
They downsized your workforce. When you take more money from the corporation, they downsized your workforce. In today's economy, they downsize your workforce and go to automation, having fewer people doing more work.
Don't you ask your pal Sinclair there. If I'm not mistaken, all this is his fault.
Every time the federal government awards a huge settlement to somebody or increases taxes on a corporation, they downsize your workforce, increase prices. It's always been that way.
While at the same time raising prices on all
Alright?
essential products and services.
Wow, Dad, looks like Mom was right. We Say So isn't suffering at all. They're just making consumers pay for all the money you got.
Son, don't believe everything you see on TV. This is just another lie propagated by the left. It was
Alright. That should hopefully make things abundantly clear to you. Every time taxes go up or judgments happen, you notice they downsized your labor force, outsource more, automate more. And that's why, if you've noticed as you get older, you see fewer employees at different stores. It's been that way. It's always been that way since 1978. The only time it wasn't like that is when there was a insane amount of competition to force businesses to accept less taxes. And that's the real reason why you can always find plenty of this. We'll just go with Ford. In fact, if you watch this, look at this. We'll go 5 years. That's why you notice everybody yells about the stock market. Now it's the diversity and equity and inclusion and all this other nonsense, but they don't talk about the real cause of inflation and why the job market is continuing to shrink and why those donors, and they keep comparisons between incels behind multi-$100 paywalls that don't even mention it because they don't want you to see the truth. And that's why That's why now, and they still aren't discussing this little technicality. Every car manufacturer has always been chasing this golden goose, cutting manufacturing costs for their vehicles while increasing prices, while the federal government taxes more to fight to keep profits up. That's the truth. That is the stone cold bottom line truth. That's why ultimately the economy has been and will continue to be in a recession. It will never recover from being in a recession. There is no chance of it ever getting out of it, because ultimately the federal government is taxing more, relying on fewer and fewer businesses to keep itself going. The machine is literally eating itself alive. Yeah, that's the truth. Ultimately, the taxes is coming. They're not being evenly taxed. They might say it is, but you got to realize when the Democrats yell, or anybody yells, "Tax the rich," it's a bad joke. It is. It's a bad joke because ultimately, when they increase taxes on a corporation that's traded on the stock market, if the profits goes down, the stock price goes down. That means when you buy or sell or trade stocks, that business will get less money. The corporations will ultimately take short-term gains with long-term losses to sell more stocks. That means when they increase taxes on big corporations or big businesses, ultimately you're paying for it in the store. All they'll do is just simply say, "Oh, gee, you're going to increase taxes on us, $1.5 billion, $88 billion." Despite the fact that, in Target's case, perfect example, before Obama was even elected, if you took the total profits that Target was making and divided up between the entire chain, it was 0.7% profit. What happens is when the federal government or anybody increases taxes on these businesses, they go, let's see, we're taxed more. How do we keep our profits up? This store is barely earning a profit, or is now a loss. We're closing it. Gee, you're increasing taxes by what? This amount per sale? That amount at the corporate end? Corporate property taxes? Gee. We'll increase our profits by increasing prices. Just take it from everybody else. Like BP Richfield said. Dinosaurs, that episode is literally the best metaphor of what happens when you take more money from a corporation. They take it from everybody else. They will always take it from everybody else. Because on the stock market, stocks goes up, profits goes up. Heck, in some cases, even when the profit projections is set and the business misses it, the stock prices will go down. And that's if it's still profitable. It's just not as profitable as it was expected to be. That's why you'll notice in Disney's case, they've been reducing their expectations for ticket sales. And that's why Disney doesn't disclose how much it actually costs to make something. Okay? Let's just for the sake of argument, we're going to take when a movie studio decides to sit on not releasing something, like let's say for the sake of argument, Green Lantern sequel. Or the Captain Marvel sequel. They just sit on it and they don't release it. It's not free to do that. This is why it's not free. What happens is they have to ultimately continue to pay lawyers to enforce non-disclosure agreements, meaning they can't say certain things to the public or the media or social media. And if they break it, they're going to have to pay a lawyer to basically continue to enforce this stuff. That means every month, every day, every year that they don't release something, the studio is not making money. What the studio is trying to do is basically trying to play a game, trying to play the long game here, like this case of Aquaman 2. Okay, they are hoping that if they sit on it long enough, that the controversy around the movie will decline enough, so that way when they do actually end up taking the gamble to release it, it'll be less of a loss. That's the truth. Granted, that sitting on it still means that 10 to 1, it still ain't going to make the money because the controversy ain't going to die down. Because of today's world, the internet, they don't forget. They don't forget. Alright? That's the truth. Okay? This is why the economy is a house of cards. As the federal government taxes more, chases more revenue because the operating expenses continue to flip because the federal government doesn't have the half brain to basically stop spending money. On the top of the house of cards, the stack's getting higher and higher and higher and higher and higher and higher, and eventually the United States is going to be just look up hyperinflation. Infographics Show did a fantastic video on hyperinflation. You're going to see a lot of parodies between that video in the United States. Hyperinflation's here. It's not going anywhere. And I want to leave you on this. I want to show you this. I want you to just look at this. Just look at this. Look at this. Just get a good look at that. Just look at that. Just look at that. All right. We'll leave you on this. This is what they're not. This is what they're not talking about. Because the people in the news media, in the federal government, they don't feel what you feel. They don't want you to know this. Because if they knew, you knew, and you actually didn't know this truth, they would all be out of work forever. That's the truth. Just look right here. Interest on debt. This is the cost just to pay on the interest. Alright? Now, $25.44 trillion, right? You remember that, 25.44 trillion. 100,000 billion. It's more than double the United States total GDP. That means the United States total GDP, the amount of gross domestic product it makes in profits, isn't even enough to pay on the interest of the United States debt. You get this? 25.44 trillion. 726 trillion. It's more than 7 times the total United States GDP. That means the United States has hit the point with its debt of no return. Even if everybody was taxed 100% and put it on this debt, it won't probably even pay on the interest. That's the truth. That's what the media isn't telling you. All I can say to you, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to hyperinflation. It's here. It's going nowhere. Even if you took the entire U.S. federal tax revenue, put it to the debt, it's still only going to be a very small part of that interest. If anybody else on Earth in the United States did this, they wouldn't be loaned the money. They would quit. They quit loaning you money if you did this. This is the truth, and this is why the media and businesses and people that's deep in Democrats and Republicans is pushing all of these distractions in front of your face. You're being distracted. That's it. All right? That's it. Thanks for watching, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry I had to do this to you. Somebody had to say it. If only the economy worked like adventure capitalists. You're spending money on all these businesses here, getting all of these employees here richer, more better off. But in truth, if somebody was able to make this much money, the federal government would have them at their doorstep like that, just like what happened to Google. You remember when Google had on their mission statement, "Do no evil"? They took it off of their mission statement. The second the federal government brought them to Washington, D.C., they took away "Do no evil." All right. I'm sorry. Thanks for watching, everybody. Peace out.